Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bibi. I'm here today to discuss discussion number three. Um, the question I choose, number one, is: do you think it's okay for persuasive messages to use stories in a way that people don't realize that they are being persuaded? So when does it cross the line into manipulation? So yes, of course, it's absolutely not okay to uh, use a persuasive messages just to get people. So it is a lie. It is unethical. It is taking advantage of people inability to process message or evaluate the message. Um, to think the what's the advantages and disadvantages of the message, or for example, the product. So of course it crosses the lines when this turns into manipulations. When someone trying to withhold the very important message or try to disguise the true intent of the message. So let's do, for example, a salesperson only highlight the positive features of the product or the goods um, while using that very limited time 60% discount to pressure the customers into making that immediate purchase or decision to buy the product. So this kind of tactic is really restricts the individual's ability to carefully evaluate what's the message really about, um, to make informed choice, make a decision based on their own, based on their own choice. So of course, this manipulation, it is this type of persuasion is unethical. So this idea is according to Dellard and Shin, 2012, that persuasion is generally considered acceptable, but um, when people still have the ability to critically evaluate the message or information and have their own choice to make that decision. Using the stories it is appropriate according to them because of course this is a natural and an effective way to communicate, and it promotes emotional engagement and understanding. And question number two, um, from Green in Brock, 2000, transportation involves a vivid imagery and emotional attachments to characters. So how does this differ from the flashy visual imagery and spokespeople who may pose as experts use as examples for peripheral processing and ELM model? So articles argue that public narrative is a very strong means of persuasion. People get entertained. They're to focus on how the characters um, portray the characters, how good they are, how influential they are. So it's too entertaining for the audience that they ignore the contents of the message. So they become too attached to the story that can even change or modify their beliefs. So transportations, according to them, is a unique persuasion, definitely different in a cognitive elaboration. It is different from central or peripheral processing. It uses more different kinds of emotions than evaluating the message. So, for example, For instance, watching a very powerful movie regarding workplace discrimination. So you as the audience, you become so emotionally connected to the main character. Um, it affects your their struggles. It affects you, their struggles and experience. Then you kind of start to um, see that particular issue from their perspectives. So at the end, it modifies your attitudes, your beliefs about the, fairness and workplace behavior must change, and that's really important. So uh, that that's transportation. So you were drawn into that story, and it actually influenced um, through that emotion and imagination through the character without analyzing the facts or the arguments. On the other hand, you see on the peripheral or ALM lens, you see an ad about workplace equality. um, you see a person representing very well dressed, expert, influential, maybe a celebrity. It says that workplace equality is very important. So there you go. There is a polished visuals, confident person representing says that it is very important, and of course you can agree um, due to what you see that they look credible, they look sounds influential. So you get to um, through ALM peripheral route because it looks credible. You don't really think deeply or deeply about the message, what's the arguments behind it. So this is exactly what Green and Brock call it the transportation, when people are really absorbed into that story, and they are more likely to be persuaded. For question number three is, if people are less persuaded just because a story is labeled as AI, does that mean that the source matters more than the message itself? So how could this affect AI issues in the future? So the study does not really say that the source is more important than the message. Instead, it shows that the AI labeling is kind of more like an issue here. So it's a source cue. So when it is labeled as AI generated, it creates people's skepticism, or we become skeptical about, because AI generated, maybe it's too good to be true. So which really influence on how people process the message. So it's really a labeling issue, which affect the mindset of the people that bring to the message, which uh, shape the persuasion outcomes. So what is this the AI says about in the future? So it's really is about how public get used to AI. In modern era technology, um, a lot of things is created by AI, especially those movies, computer graphics. So those are all AI. So yeah, so it's just, the more we know that it is labeled or created by AI, we are think our transportations is what it says. The article is like we become less transported to that story. So that could be the implication, is to make people used to that AI is the part of the new modern technology. So yeah, thank you, and thank you for listening.